Okay, so my name is Andy Sandham. This is a quick tutorial on the new LIDAR point cloud importer for Unreal 4.24. Bit of a game changer, very exciting stuff. Point cloud data being fantastic for kind of fixed camera because you are taking all the data in from a fixed camera. But we'll talk about that in a bit because you can supplement that data. So just setting up a new project. It's going to bring in the plugin automatically. So I'll just open up Unreal, first person, so I can shoot things. Great. So it opens this automatically. You just want to enable, this is a beta version, enable this and it will restart. This is your plugins window, which as I say opens automatically when you open Unreal. So let's restart now, or once I've fiddled about over there. Okay. Just to quickly say as well, with regards to LiDAR data, there's a lot of it online. It depends. There's a lot of huge data sets. For instance, this is one of the whole of Dublin, which has got 75 trillion points. But you should be able to kind of find some online. So this is my own point cloud data that I took at a previous university. Talking quick now because we are in Recap Pro. So make sure you can get a trial version of this for a month or an educational version. So I put mystery scan because I don't know what's in the folder. I took these ages ago. So that's kind of what you'll get out of your LiDAR scanner, your Faro LiDAR scanner, is this kind of project folder. You bring it in and then import files, click on that. Then index scans is the next step. Once you can see that you've got some data in there. And then I'll just, so this takes a while. So I've just brought that in now. So that's the LiDAR data, so I'm going to have a look at it. So I should point out that you can actually take multiple scans and this will stitch them together. So we'll see that you've got one camera view here which causes some issues, just as not being able to use the mouse causes some issues. So if we kind of skip down this corridor, this is from a previous university with some gentlemen lolling about in it. So you can see that from certain angles you can see the grey parts. These are, so I can click on that dome there and that's actually giving me the 360 view, so it takes a photograph along with the LiDAR point cloud data, which I think is what I'm looking at. Okay, so that's the angle, that's exactly the position we put the LiDAR camera. That is effectively a 360 view of where we dropped the LiDAR scanner, and these gentlemen have obliged by standing very, very still while they're being laser scanned. So if you have a look online on the UE4, this is about as much as you can get, but it tells you the formats you can bring in, a LAS and a PTA. You can get a lot of LASs online. And I should point out .FLS is Faro LiDAR scan. Okay, so you can see these grey parts here. These are the parts you can take more scans and stitch them together basically. So cut a long story short, I'm going to export this as a PTS, a post-traumatic stress document. I don't think it is a post-traumatic stress document. Point source. Okay, so I've just named it PTS so I can differentiate it when I'm importing it into Unreal. Okay, so I've exported it now. I'm just going to drag it directly into Unreal and let's see what happens. Okay, so it gives you the import options. Looks fairly incomprehensible, so probably in my experience best just to click on import all. And we're importing it really quickly there. So I mean, it's a huge amount of points we're bringing in there, so Unreal doing an amazing job. Let's just set up a new scene and drag that data in. So there you go, straight away we've got all those points being processed runtime, or they will be at runtime when I run it. So one of the things here, we can see that we've got the pivots quite far off because we've got a load of data over there. I'll just get it into position. I just want to check it. So I'm just checking where the player start is, so it's just there. So we want to just drag that over a little bit. Could obviously move the player start. Might have been a better idea. No. I'm going to try the green one in a minute. Yes. Okay. So obviously the lasers have only been taken from one point, so you can see where we're starting to lose data in the point cloud field. Whoopsie daisy. But as I say, you can take a number of different scans and then add them all together. Just going to extend that so I can have a bit of a look down there. The massive benefit of this is if you are in a kind of fixed position, you can see that these have some depth, so you effectively can, so you see we've lost loads of data here, it's just catching the edges of the walls. It's firing lasers out effectively. So you can put things behind these, for instance these characters here, without having to kind of create fake occlusion to give the impression of depth, because you actually do have the depth in there. So next up, I just want to show you can actually double clicking on it, you can actually edit it, which is kind of astounding. So if we just go to the top view, we can see all this extra stuff that's picked up outside of the windows as the lasers have been firing off into eternity. So if I just look into edit mode, and it gives you a nice set of instructions there on the keys to use. Grab all of that data that we don't need, just press delete. Happy days. There's a bit over there as well. You kind of have to watch out what you are deleting, because you do want some of it to give the impression of distance. Those bits there look ridiculous from this perspective, but when you're in that fixed position, those give the impression of a corridor in the distance. So I'm just moving the pivot point. So to move the pivot point, it's Alt and middle mouse button. So I'm just trying to align that. Something quite common you need to do all the time, that I always forget the key, but it's Alt and middle mouse button, I hope. Okay, so just kind of align it there to some reasonably sensible position. Just get it up there. Yep. So yeah, I'm sorry, then you need to right click and set on pivot offset, and make sure you kind of click in the area of the object. Don't click off the object, otherwise you lose your repositioned pivot. You'll see what I mean when you try it. It's quite irritating. Okay, so we've got it in a decent position there. So really, kind of the last thing I want to do is, we've got a big grey floor in there. So if we just go down to visibility, just turn that off, then you've got the floor. Press play. There we go. Bob's your uncle. That's the bit where the LiDAR scanner was. Can't pick up its own feet. Okay, there you go. Thanks.